Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 153 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. Poet and I didn't know it. Well, we're another week older. No shirts.
I'm another year older.
You're another year older, yeah. No shirts, no sign-ins, no news. Good night. There we go.
And join us next week.
Yeah. It's been one of them weeks, hasn't it, really? But did you have a nice birthday? Anyway?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't get the things that I wanted. When we went shopping, I mean.
Yeah, that sounds like that looks really bad on me. That isn't. She wanted stuff for her birthday, and I didn't buy it for her. Basically, what she wanted was she just wanted some money and to go to the Trafford Centre, basically just outside Manchester, to do some shopping and to get some stuff for holiday and things like that. And you were a little disappointed, weren't you?
I was. We're not going to the Trafford Centre next year. We've been twice now for my birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll go somewhere different. So recommendations, people.
Yeah, definitely in this country, obviously. We're not,
yeah,
we have
can't go to a shopping mall in America.
No,
not for a
like
day.
Look,
anyway,
coming up on this week's show.
Nothing.
It's not a lot, but I am sure we will make it last an hour. Don't worry. We're going to have another look at.
Sorry, I just forgot where I was then. I just did a blatant yawn.
A blatant yawn.
I'm really sorry.
You are quite tired at the moment, though. Is it? Do you think it's because you
started?
started?
It's my new job. I am absolutely knackered.
Yeah, I think when you start a new job, you start trying to take in loads of information. I think it probably does.
I do a lot of walking.
Yeah, there's that as well.
Because I have to, because of where my office is to where the entrance is to the place where I work. It's a bit of a distance. Plus, I have to go down onto the factory floor and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of walking. Anyway, sorry, that's a bit boring for everybody. So anyway, crack on. We're
going to have a look at two more championship teams this week. We're going to have a chat about Welcome to Wrexham. Episode 6 was out on Thursday/Friday, wherever you are in the world. A couple of transfer rumours, plus another one which maybe isn't a rumour. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to do the quiz as well. There's a bit to get through. I should talk about the shirt first, shouldn't I? As I do every week. I've gone for the 2012-2013 season shirt. One of my favourites, this one. I do like it. I like the Adidas kits. I think they're really cool.
You sounded...
What?
So cool. You're too old to say stuff like that now.
I'm not sure I am.
I think you are.
I'm just that sort of relaxed sort of guy. No, it is one of my favourite shirts. Really like this one. It's a little bit snugger now in my 40s than it was when I bought it in my early 30s. Let's put it like that. I think that's the best way of putting it. But I have lost quite a bit of weight recently in preparation for holiday, so it does fit a little bit better. So we're all right. Look, a few comments to get through. You'll notice a theme in these comments from last week's show. So Sarah said, another great episode. I had no idea what Shaun was talking about when she said hoops. Never heard that before to describe horizontal stripes. Learn something new every day.
Every day's a school day, Sarah.
It is. D. Foster, I did not know hoops, so thank you from the US. Sharonigans, I didn't know hoops either. Was imagining some bizarre shirt with big circles on it. Technically, Sharonigans, That's what it is. That it's a hoop, so it goes right the way around and creates a circle. That's why it's called hoops. Bryant, I'm sure others have chimed in, just a few, Bryant. But thanks for explaining hoops. It's definitely not a common American term. It's stripes either way.
Yeah, you could have said horizontal or vertical stripes, couldn't you?
They're called hoops. That's what they call it. That's why. So Celtic, we're never going to play Celtic unless we play them in Europe or in a friendly. But they obviously green and white. Their nickname is the Hoops because they have hoops on their shirt. That's just what it is over here. And DC, American here, didn't know hoops and stripes. Thanks, Ryan. I've got to be honest. I did when I said it. I felt like I was being a little bit patronising by saying it because I thought people are going to think that I'm being.
Yeah, we know what hoops and stripes are, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought people were going to think. I said to you, didn't
I, on the episode last week? I said I don't think people need explaining to them.
No, I know. It's exactly what I said.
But obviously, it's not a well-known thing.
The absolute. I didn't include all the comments either because I thought I can't just spend the first 5 minutes of the episode reading out comments about people saying I didn't know what hoops were either. But yeah, it's interesting. Not only have people listening learned something, I have learnt something that hoops isn't a term that is recognised all over the world.
I'm not American.
No.
Or an international fan, and I had never heard of it either, so...
Mad that, innit?
No.
I suppose when you watch football all your life and you get you're not taught it, it's just something you know. That is stripes and that is hoops, and it's just the way it is, I suppose. I don't know. I assumed everyone knew what that was. I just caught sight of myself in this shirt. It doesn't bring back the best of memories, this shirt, either, you know. It was a season, so like I said...
It was a good year for us, though.
It was a good year for us. We got married in 2013, didn't we?
What year did you say?
2013.
Was it 2012, 2013?
Yes.
Yeah, both those years were good for us.
Yes, they were. We had, oh, right. Sorry, I thought you were, yeah, okay, yeah. So our son was born in 2012 and we got married in 2013.
Unlucky for some.
Some might argue that's the wrong way round, but hey, that's the way we did it.
Hey, we did it the modern way.
Yeah, we did. No, but we finished 5th that season, got into the playoffs, beat, who did we beat in the semis? I can't even look to you for inspiration here, can I? Kidderminster. We beat Kidderminster.
I was just going to say Everton or something.
We beat Kidderminster in the semi-finals, and then we played Newport in the final at Wembley, and we lost 2-0 in the. It wasn't the National League then. It was called
Conference League, wasn't it?
Conference Premier. I think it was that year. So maybe not the best of memories. We had some good chances in that final as well, not to spend too much time reminiscing, but yeah, we did. Brett Ormerod had a couple of really good chances, and we probably should have won that game, but we conceded 2 really late on. I think like 86th and 94. Anyway, this isn't a trip down memory lane, is it? But I just caught sight of myself in the shirt, and I just thought, oh God, I've just remembered what this shirt is. But yeah, there we go.
So there isn't really news this week, so we're just going to talk about a few things. So we actually went past today, and the temporary stand is almost down. It's just scaffolding now. There's no chairs or seats or whatever on there anymore. It literally is just the metal scaffold.
I think it's worth mentioning. We are I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to any dads around the world that are listening for yesterday. Happy Father's Day, including my dad, Shaun's dad,
my dad, and yourself,
and myself,
and
yes.
yourself.
So we're actually recording this on a Saturday. So. Please don't chastise us if anything does happen between Saturday afternoon and Monday when this comes out, because that is a possibility. But yeah,
I doubt anything's going to come out on a Sunday.
But like Shaun said, it was Saturday. and we drove past the ground. And I think today was the day.
Today was the day
that it hit me a little bit that the season's over. And I started to, when we were driving past the ground, it was like, God, the season seems so far away. And it's definitely over. And there's not really, I got quite into the playoffs, the EFL playoffs and a few different bits. They're gone. They're all done and dusted. And I think it sort of hit me this week that there is no football for a while. And looking over at the Kop, it was just scaffolding. I do think that by the time this podcast comes out, potentially the temporary Kop will be completely gone. I don't know what you think, but I've been watching Wrexham AFC fans' own drone videos. It has come down quite quickly over the last few days. So yeah, I think it is going to be gone quite soon. And like I say, maybe by the time this comes out. But exciting, I suppose.
They need to get a wriggle on, really, because that's got to be done by, is it the 26-27 or the 25-26 season?
Start of next season. I suppose next season.
We're not in next season yet.
I suppose next season is starting in
August.
in like six weeks or so. I mean the season after that. So
25-26.
Yeah, it needs to be ready for the under-7s European.
Oh no, it'll be the 26-27, won't it?
Yeah. So
sorry, because it's 25-26 when we go back in.
Yes,
yeah,
so
sorry.
there is the under-7 teens, under 19s, 17s, European Championships, which we are going to be a venue for some of them games. We've signed up to do that, so it needs to be ready for sort of like June, July next year, for when them games happen. I think a few people were getting a little bit antsy, to be honest, when they were like, well, they're doing all this stuff with the pitch. When are they taking the temporary Kop down? When is that happening? And then just sort of, they had to get everything with the pitch and all the electrical cables down the side of the pitch that are going to go to the new dugouts, and they had to finish all that before they started taking the temporary Kop down.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of just taking it down. There's a lot of things that kind of need to be done before that.
I have seen some videos, and it sort of does feel like it's just taking it down. It's quite quick.
But it's the things that are around it that you have to think of. Like you said, the electrics and stuff, because they would have had electricity and plumbing and stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah, plumbing. I don't know. Not in the stand. No, not the stand itself. They didn't have any plumbing there, did they?
Oh, they would have had portaloos.
I think so. So nothing like that. No, so it is just scaffolding that needs taking down. They've stripped all the seats away, just scaffolding. So, get it down and get cracking, I think. But they're obviously pretty confident. There's been no panic to get that down, as they knew they had to do the pitch. They knew they had to do all the electrical work they needed to do, and they haven't been running around like headless chickens. So they've obviously got an itinerary for how it's going to go, and they're obviously well within that at the moment.
You hope they've got a contingency as well, just in case, because
working through the night or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But the grass is growing, talking about the pitch.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, the grass is growing, and very bizarrely, you saw shoots of grass coming through, and they've been mowing it, which is crazy. I know mowing it promotes growth and makes it grow again, but it just feels weird mowing it when it's not completely grown. But yeah, they've mowed it this week.
But you should take heed on that. Actually, no, we don't want our grass to grow.
No, we don't need it to grow anymore. One last thing I wanted to bring up: the new signage for the club shop has gone up this week.
It has. My dad sent me a picture actually yesterday, and it's nothing like, it's just quite neutral. It's not like a magnificent sign.
No,
it's just red, and it's
Yeah, I think. It's another thing I'm quite excited to see, because I think in a summer of no football, anything that can sort of bring you back to football a little bit. I know we've got the Club World Cup this week, but we're not involved in that. And, you've got teams from around the world. The games are kicking off. I suppose it's quite maybe exciting, maybe something to watch for the American fans. But some of the games are kicking off at like 2 a.m, some at midnight for us over here, you know. So it's not exactly something to look forward to. Might, you know, be able to watch some highlights and things like that. So, you know, the club shop is just another thing that'll get you excited and get you back into it again. I did mention before, no shirts. We haven't seen anything sort of
Maybe
released.
they're waiting for the shop to be open.
Yes, that is one thing that I thought was maybe it's going to be launched in the shop as opposed to it being launched online. Maybe they're going to make it a bit of an event that they're launching it in the brand new shop. I thought it would be a bit odd to open the new club shop
with no new shirts.
With no shirts that you can sell in there. All you've got in there in your brand new shiny shop is a load of
from last season.
Yeah, a load of last season shirts that have been reduced by 60%. It doesn't really feel right, does it? So I think maybe that's the delay with the shirts. Gokamoto actually got in touch on Blue Sky. We were talking about the sponsor, weren't we, last week? And you said perhaps they're finalising the sponsor. And I said, I'm sure that United Airlines signed for 3 years, so this next year would be their 3rd year. Gokamoto actually said United Airlines deal was for 2 years, not 3. So it is now actually up. So what you said last week might actually be right, that they're finalising a sponsor.
Got to be right about something, haven't I?
Good timing to get an increased price for front of shirt sponsorship. Yeah, definitely. If it is going to continue to be United Airlines.
How funny would it be if Disney did it and we had Disney across our shirts?
Yes.
That'd be so funny.
I think that'd be a dream come true. To take what all the rival fans are saying and go, tell you what we'll do, mate. We'll stick that on the front of our shirt. How'd you like that? And then everyone goes, yeah, whatever. And I just think, the internet would go into meltdown. Disney Plus on the front of the shirt.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Make that happen. That's exciting. Could that happen? Could that actually happen?
I don't know. I don't know whether things like that...
We've had TikTok.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that Disney is a lot bigger than TikTok. But, that's quite exciting. Yeah, maybe.
You heard it here first if it happens.
You have heard it here first.
Psychic Shaun.
You just have to bear in mind that Shaun has just made that up, though.
I haven't. I've been thinking about it for a very long time. I did literally just make that up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, let's have a chat about transfer rumours. So our good friend, Wrexham AFC fan zone, he gets mentioned a lot on this show.
Our good friend.
He does the drone footage, and I always say go and have a look at his channel. He releases videos every day.
Yeah,
it's very good. So he was filming the other day, and he had to stop filming and edit a section out of his drone footage because there was a new signing in the stands doing their promo photos, as every...
Holding the shirt, holding the scarf, like they do.
Whatever
leaning on the bars, doing a little pose.
So he's filmed...
I don't know whether that happened, I'm just like...
No, so he's filmed that, and he's seen that, so he knows. So he did say...
He's had to sign like a... what do they call it?
An NDA?
Yeah.
I doubt it, but I think it's in his best interest to not reveal who that is.
Yeah. It'd be so exciting to know who that was before everybody else.
Yeah, with that in mind, so he's been very good. He hasn't released who it is that he's seen at the ground. My assumption is he recognises who it is, and it is a recognisable name potentially, so that's why he's not put it out there. With that in mind, let's talk about somebody as a transfer rumour. I'm going to talk about Ryan Hardie. So it is somebody who's actually come up as a transfer rumour in the past. He's a striker. He's 28 years old. He was born in Stranraer in Scotland. He played 37 league games last season, scored 12 goals. So that's 1 in 3, give or take, with a little point on the end. Which I think Plymouth were obviously relegated. He plays for Plymouth. They were actually relegated from the Championship last season. So he scored 12 goals in 37 league games in a struggling Plymouth team who eventually got relegated. So you have to bear that in mind. Some people will sort of sit there and go, 1 in 3, not great. But that is actually a pretty decent return for a striker. And to be that striker in a struggling side that ends up getting relegated, I don't think that's I think they're pretty good stats, to be honest. Currently in contract until 2026, so there would be a fee involved in actually signing him. He also scored another goal on top of that. He scored in the FA Cup when they beat Liverpool at home. I think that was in the 4th round. That was a huge shock in the FA Cup last season. The reason I put him first is he is the player that is rumoured to have already signed for us. So I'm not saying that is the person that Wrexham AFC Fan Zone has seen with his drone. I am not saying that. And he hasn't told me or Shaun or anyone that that's who it is. But the rumours are that he has already signed for us. How true they are, we don't know. I suppose the reason for not... Because I think everyone, once we realised, okay, it looks like someone has been signed. And that was, I think that was on the Tuesday. And then we were waiting. Next day, no news. Next day, no news. And people are a little bit confused as to why there was no news. I suspect that the transfer window actually closed on Tuesday. It was only open for like 9 days. And then it's closed until after the Club World Cup. So I think the likelihood is if we have signed somebody, we've potentially got them down to the ground, got all the paperwork done, maybe missed the deadline or didn't want to rush it to get the paperwork in, get it checked over, get everything in place, sort out the fee if there is a fee involved. And then when the window reopens again after the Club World Cup, submit the paperwork. Potentially this player has already had all their promo photos done, which ties in with what we already know. So I think that's possibly the scenario that we're currently in. Like I say, the rumour is it is Ryan Hardie, but we will wait and see. I think it's a very good signing.
Rumours are rumours until they're confirmed.
They are indeed. There is one other which would be quite exciting. I think is Danny Ings. Do you know Danny Ings? I know I didn't ask you if you know Ryan Hardie, but very much a Championship player. You don't watch a lot of Championship, so I wouldn't have necessarily expected you to know who Ryan Hardie was. Danny Ings, very much full-on Premier League. Do you know who he is? No? Okay, that's fair enough. So he's 32. He's played for Bournemouth, Burnley, Southampton, Liverpool. He had a really torrid time at Liverpool. He had a knee injury when he was there. He signed for them. You know, everyone had really high hopes. He had a terrible knee injury. Tried to come back. Had a recurrence of another knee injury. He's trying to quietly open a bottle of Coke there, and it is. I've got a suspicion that Mike has picked up every hiss. He played for Villa and he's most recently played for West Ham. He is a free agent after he left West Ham recently. He's played 240 games in the Premier League, scored 72 Premier League goals in his career. Not much football over the last few years, though. I think he's barely had a start in the last 2 seasons. He is a very good player, very good striker, goal scorer. If you give him the opportunity, I think in his last 2 seasons, he's been at West Ham. I think his starts for West Ham, I would say, have been in single figures in 2 seasons. So he's not really been given that opportunity to get up any sort of head of steam. And we know what it's like when a striker tries to come in and maybe doesn't get the opportunity, and when they do come in, everyone's like, well, why aren't they performing? And you need that run of games in a team, but yeah, reports came out from Sky Sports last week confirming that we have already had discussions with Danny Ings, whether
he's the one that signed.
Potentially he is the one that signed, potentially we've just had conversations and either he wasn't interested or his wage demands were too high, so we weren't interested. We don't know. We just don't know. The reports are we've had a conversation with him. How that conversation went and what came of that conversation, we just don't know. But I think we have something to look forward to. When the window opens, we will just have to wait and see what that is. So I've gone striker heavy this week.
Yeah, well, we talked about it last week, and I think a striker is what we need at this moment in time. But yeah, we'll wait and see.
I think we need numerous, but it would be nice, I think, to
have a proven goal scorer.
Yeah, we've got Sam Smith.
We have.
We know that, and we know Sam Smith can score goals.
Yeah.
But he is very unproven at championship level. Jay Rodriguez may well come into his own next season. He is very much a championship/Premier League player throughout his career.
I don't get that, though. You think if they're like pedigree championship pedigree...
Yeah, that they could play.
They could play any league.
I get that, but it's not. That's not always the case. You can't just drop down a few divisions and expect to have it easy, because you have to wonder sometimes when Jay signed for us. Everyone that we played after that, are the defenders going or midfielders or whatever going right? Jay Rodriguez here. We know what Jay Rodriguez is about. We know what he can do. Shut him down early. Stay tight to him. Get close. Don't let him have a minute. But are they potentially maybe not doing that as much with Sam Smith? Or potentially they wouldn't have done that as much with Ollie Palmer if it was him playing. But because it's Jay Rodriguez, who has played in the Premier League and has played in the Championship, that they slightly up their game and go, I'm going to get closer to him.
Yeah.
I'm going to get tighter to him. I'm going to stop him playing. So dropping down, it isn't necessary. It's maybe you've got more eyes on you and more people know who you are and know what you're about and want to close you down quicker because they think you're dangerous.
Yeah, maybe.
So there's that. But whereas if you are in the Championship, people are going, it's just Jay Rodriguez. He plays at the same level as me. And the same level as I've played in for the last 5 years, 10 years, So that's what I mean. Sometimes you're not this. All of a sudden you're not this standout player. You are just another one of the players because that is your level.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So, welcome to Wrexham. It was the 6th episode, and it started off with Mark Griffiths kind of doing a voiceover and saying about how we will always adapt. And they had like old footage and stuff playing, and it was quite nice listening to Mark. He's got quite a soothing voice actually when he was talking.
He has. He was very much surrounding the Red Dragon, wasn't it? And how and the strength and the fight and the ability to adapt and change in any circumstance, which was very poignant and meaningful for the episode because we did talk about a lot of change and it felt like once you got to the end, the beginning felt like a fitting start after what you'd seen. We fired off some games early on, didn't we? We had the Leyton Orient loss, the Mansfield win, where obviously, unfortunately, Andy got injured.
I didn't realise he was crying when he went off. He was absolutely devastated, bless him.
We had the Rotherham win as well, where Sam scored and we won that 1-0. But they sort of fired them games off, and I thought, when they did that, I had a good feeling about that, because when they rush through the football bit, it usually means they've got some good stories that they really want to spend some time on. And I suppose the first one of them was Paul Mullin and Ollie Palmer, really. And it sort of, again, flashback to so Mark saying, the ability to adapt and change. And we very much did that last season. Paul was dropped after coming back from his injury, tried to come back. We did get a bit of an insight, didn't we, really, into that, because we talked previously about maybe his injury's still a bit of a problem, but we weren't really sure.
Yeah.
And then he sort of confirmed that the surgeon had said to him, this is how long it'll take you to get back to training. But then he said it could take you 6 months to get to a point. So he did say that he was still in pain. But I think we started with Ollie, didn't he? Ollie looked dejected, and he was upset that he wasn't involved anymore. And I get that. And it must be so hard for players, because I'm not one of these who sort of badmouthed Ollie too much. I always thought he put a lot of effort in his performances, but I think Parky confirmed it during the episode. There just wasn't enough goals there from him. And that's what you want from a number 9, is you need all the stuff Ollie was doing. You need, as a standard, as a baseline, you need all of that stuff. You need them to run. You need them to close down. You need them to come back for corners. You need all that. And I think he was doing that. It's just the goals element, because if we look at another number 9, let's pick one at random. Sam Dalby, right, as an example. And I'm not talking about his time with Wrexham, I'm talking about his time in Dundee. He was doing all of them things. He was holding the ball up. He was chasing, things down. He was being a nuisance. But he also knocked in 15 goals. And that is sort of the epitome of... don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Sam should have come back and he would have done exactly what he did up in Scotland for us.
Sam didn't want to come back.
He didn't, no. But I'm not saying that's what should have happened. But that is sort of like a blueprint of what a number 9 should be doing.
Yeah.
He should be doing all of that stuff and getting you goals, and Ollie just wasn't. So I don't think it was a huge shock for anyone that Ollie wasn't playing, and we brought somebody else in January. I think the one that hurts more than anything for everyone is the Paul Mullin one.
Absolutely.
And he just looked so sad.
He did.
In that episode, it was hard to watch, I think, really.
He said, from his personal opinion, he doesn't see himself, because obviously these episodes are pre getting into the Championship, so I think he was obviously talking about this season.
He was talking about the remainder of the campaign.
So he was like, he said in his personal opinion, he said he would love to play in the Championship, even if it's just one game. He said that would just be, an amazing end to this amazing story. But he said in his personal opinion, he doesn't feel like he will be but feature of us getting to the Championship. So it was really, really sad. And it felt like when he was talking that it felt like it was the end of an era, that he was saying goodbye.
It did sort of feel like that. I know Parky's come out and said, look, Ollie and Paul are going to be involved in the tour of Australia when we go there.
That might just be a...
But
au revoir.
Yeah, I don't know. After the episode on Friday, it did sort of feel... But I suppose as a player, I think you can genuinely sort of not know what's going on. You can feel like maybe you're not going to get picked, and maybe you're not going to get back into that team. You'll try and try and try, but for whatever reason, the manager doesn't think you're gonna he used the word trust, I think, during the episode. The manager doesn't trust me.
He doesn't know why.
And so I think, he could genuinely be sitting there and people are going, that's a goodbye. But I suppose he's using whatever platform he can to say goodbye because he doesn't know. And I genuinely don't think he knows. He doesn't know what's going to happen and what's round the corner.
Humphrey Kerr, actually, I think it was Humphrey anyway, he said in that episode that there is definitely a future for Paul in the club. He never mentioned anything about Ollie.
He didn't,
but
no.
He did say there's definitely a place for Paul.
Well, he did mention something for Ollie. He said there's definitely a place for Paul at the club. And then he went on to talk about Ollie, and he goes, the thing with Ollie is age. And which is, you're probably right, and he's probably right. That age is a problem. And the thing I found quite interesting is Ollie'd been told maybe he should go out on loan in January, and he wanted to stay, and he wanted to be part of the push for the championship, even if he wasn't going to play.
Yep.
He wanted to be part of it. And I sort of gained a bit of respect for him in that sense of going, no, I'm not going to go, because going out on loan is the thing that will benefit him in the long run. But he just wanted to be around it. He said
he loves being, he loves the town and the community and everything like that. And I think everybody feels like that. It's so weird because as much as players say that they like being, like being in their town, the town of their or city of their football club. So you kind of think maybe some of the bit disingenuous.
Potentially, yeah.
But I feel like every single player and every single person, like Shaun Harvey, Humphrey, Ryan, Rob, Parky, everybody who's involved in the club genuinely has a soft spot for the town.
They love football in a circus. What can I say?
Yeah, and I think I do think that for me. I've loved Paul Mullin from the day that he started, and he's just been, and it's been so hard for everybody to kind of think, well, why isn't he coming back? What's going on? And I think this episode kind of didn't answer all the questions because, there's certain things that they can't discuss. But I think it sort of, it probably opened another page of the book, really, of for us to read into it.
Yeah, it did, and it's hard to know until we know. You don't know until you know.
No,
and
that's anything, isn't it, about the club? It's very
you don't. And I'd love what I would love more than anything is to start next season, and for Paul to work so hard, get a chance. Smashing a few goals
and be the Paul Mullin that we know and love.
Yeah, and come back and be the number one striker again.
Yeah.
Will that happen? I think it's a head and heart situation. If I'm being sensible, no, probably not. That's not going to happen. He was very good at a certain level for us, and I think we've been through that and we're past it now, and we're on to bigger and better things, and I'm not sure that is ever going to happen for him, but that's just what I would love to happen.
You never know.
You do never know. We had Humphrey's half marathon.
Yeah, it's so mad. He's tall, but you don't realise just how tall he is until he was running with all those people and he was towering over them.
Yeah.
But he said that someone asked him when he'd finished it, that he was afraid, he was scared.
Yeah, because he looked like he was going to die.
Which is literally what all the players said was going to happen.
Well, they actually said that about the marathon. I think because he's going to do a marathon as well, isn't he? That was a half marathon.
Oh, and he said, I don't know how I'm going to do the other half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that's still to come, that is.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought that's what he was training for, that New York one.
I know. So, look, we had Archie in as well.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, it really is.
Little Archie.
I think, we had pictures of Ollie visiting him. Obviously Paul's become good friends with him and good friends with the family. I mean, some might say that Ollie and Paul have a little bit more time on their hands than some, but that isn't necessarily true, because they're still training with the squad day in, day out. Yeah. Just because they're not playing on the Saturday, they're still involved. So they are still taking their own personal time out to go and visit, and it's one of them stories that I think when you've got kids yourself as well, it is gut-wrenching to hear the story, but it's sort of oddly uplifting all at the same time, where this kid is just taking it on the chin and just going, right, okay, come on then, and let's
massive smile
cry.
On his face.
Yeah.
But I guess that we, as viewers of the episode, we only see certain parts of his journey.
That is true.
The fact that Paul Mullin was there, and and Ryan obviously called him while he was there, sort of made his day and obviously made him happy. But I do genuinely believe, his mum posts on Twitter quite a bit.
It's X now, darling. Come on.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's
just like Wrexham's a city. It's not. It's a town.
That is a sign of age, right? A sign of age is when something changes and a person just completely chooses not to go with the change. I am still going to call it what I used to call it. I am not rolling with the times.
To be fair,
that is a sign of age, and you just need to pick it up and run with it. It's now called X.
I still call Viscounts yo-yos, because that's what they were called when I was growing up.
When the hell have you discussed Viscounts or yo-yos recently?
Well, not recently, but when I see them, they are yo-yos. Because that's what they were. Anyway, so his mum posts on X quite a bit.
You don't have to pull that face.
And she's always talking about how strong he is and how resilient he is and all this kind of stuff. So I can genuinely believe, even though we only saw a part of him on this episode, I genuinely believe that little lad is strong and he's a fighter. And I hope to God that, that he gets through this and he's stronger than ever. And I just think the fact that he's got Wrexham as one of his loves, I think that'll help get him through. We just think you're a legend, Archie. I know you're probably not going to see this, but we do think you're an absolute legend, and we just think you're brilliant.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the other things in the episode that I was so glad got some attention that's been ongoing for a while, but hasn't maybe got the attention that it deserves. And it was the Kick for Life, the Lesotho, sort of from our sort of the charitable arm of the club, the Wrexham Foundation. They've been working with them for quite a while, and I think a lot of people maybe weren't aware that it was going on. We had Shaun Harvey going out. Shaun looks so much more relaxed. Obviously, we've now learned that he's taken a step back from the day-to-day. Other people have come. He's still on the board.
Yeah.
He looks I saw him dancing.
I know.
And I was like,
that was proper dad dancing,
and
that was.
Like, what is going on here?
He was smiling. I think he's yeah.
And so I think definitely a long-term asset for the club, Shaun is. And I don't think the sort of job he was doing, I don't think he could have continued doing that long term. So I'm sort of happy that some of the stress has been taken away and he's getting to do things that maybe he's always wanted to do while he's been at the club, but hasn't really been able to because he's been so busy with day-to-day stuff, I think. And then the last thing on the episode was our chance to go second when we played Reading. Not really going to talk about that because we absolutely just threw that away and we didn't grab that with both hands. And I think that was the point in the season when I sort of thought...
It was the game before the Wycombe game, wasn't it?
It was, and I think it was, for me, it was a point where I went, I think we're throwing this away.
Yeah.
And I sort of felt like if we go to Wycombe and don't win... because they had a game in hand on us, it just sort of felt like we are just going to throw this in the bin.
Wasted season.
Yeah, potentially. But I think one of my favourite episodes of this season, if not the favourite episode of this season, I think that this week.
I don't know. It's a toss-up between this one and last week when they were talking about Arthur Massey. I think, it's a difficult one. I wish they'd kind of amalgamated those together, because then it would have been one massive brilliant episode.
I don't know. I think that would have been too emotional. I think you'd have ended up with people in puddles on the floor. So I think I was glad they separated them two out. And I think my favourite one, I think, even though it could possibly a bit of a tough watch. Yeah. I think at times I do think it was one of my favourite ones. Anyway, we are obviously in the Championship next season. Very exciting. So every week we are taking the opportunity to talk about two of our opponents next season. This week, the first one that we're going to talk about is Coventry. So take it away.
So.
Sorry, I don't know why I do that. I
take it away.
I think I do it to sort of, because I think it's funny to throw you off a little bit, and it does throw you off. So,
well, it doesn't.
Well, I did, because you didn't go into it.
I just laughed because you sounded so...
Anyway.
Horrid.
Take it away.
So, Coventry were founded in 1883. They play at the CBS Arena, which is 96 miles away, which is about an hour and 45 minutes. The capacity is 32,609, which is the third biggest in the Championship next season.
Just stop you. Me and you have both been to the CBS Arena, obviously to watch Wrexham play. Is it somewhere that you will want to go to again next season, or because we're not able to maybe afford to go away to every single game, would you rather focus?
If I had to sacrifice it for another place that we haven't been, then yeah. But okay. I would like to go back there. But yeah. Just so we can say, look at us now, we're in the same league.
I know.
So they finished 5th in the Championship last season on 69 points. They lost to Sunderland in the playoff semi-final, which we watched and was a really good
Sunderland
game.
Scored in the last minute of the second leg to win that one.
It was such a good game. They have spent the last 5 seasons in the Championship, and they were in the Premier League between 1992 and 2001. Last league game with them, so us playing them, was in 1964, which ended 1-1 at the racecourse. The last time we played them was in January 2003 in the FA Cup, when we won 4-3 at the CBS.
2023, not 2003.
Oh, my eyes just went a bit funny. I thought that was a bit weird. I thought we played them.
We were at that game, so yeah.
Sorry, my eyes went funny and I thought it said 2003, but no, 2023, sorry. The nickname is the Sky Blues. They play in sky blue with white shorts. They're obvious local rivals, but they have had a big rivalry with Sunderland, weirdly, because they're not even close.
No, okay, so this dates back to 1977, this does. So the rivalry with them, it does seem a bit odd, because obviously Sunderland are in the northeast and Coventry are in the Midlands. But they've got, like you said, they've got their obvious rivalries. You got your people around this sort of area, you got your West Broms, your Birminghams, your Villas, all that sort of thing, usual. But yeah, the Sunderland one's interesting because it dates back to they were in a relegation battle on the final day of the season, and
never good.
No, one of the games got postponed. Not postponed, but it was delayed due to traffic or something outside the ground. So and they needed. What are you saying? Oh yeah, it was 1977. Why would you remember this?
Something like that happened recently in recent history.
Certainly not in that. Yeah, you went around then.
It wasn't even a twinkle in my mum and dad's eye.
So one of the games was one of the games finished. And the other game, all they needed was a draw, 2-2 draw. So they made an announcement over the tannoy saying, "Oh, this game's finished, and this was the score." And then, so neither team bothered playing for the last sort of few minutes. They just sort of kicked the ball around. and then they ended up being safe, and so that's where this rivalry comes from. It's like a hatred of each other because of that last final day relegation. Just honestly, just if you want to know, because I haven't explained it very well, but if you want to know some more, just obviously Google that and you'll find it.
He always has to gag in, doesn't he, on my
sorry
me saying stuff.
I know. Second team is West Bromwich Albion.
They were founded in 1878. We're joking.
West Bromwich Albion, abbreviated usually to West Brom. Founded in 1878. They play at the Hawthorns, another one that's quite close, 65 miles away, about an hour and a quarter. A capacity of 26,688. They finished 9th in the Championship last season on 64 points. Missed out on the playoffs by 4 points last season.
It's mad that, isn't it? Because Coventry ended on 69 points and they were 5th. And they were, not many points behind them, and they were 9th. It's so weird.
Was tight the Championship last season. They've been in the top 2 tiers of English football for the last 32 seasons straight. Wow. 13 in the Premier League and 19 in the Championship. Last in the Premier League in the 2020-21 season. We have never played them in the league.
Oh, interesting.
Never played them in the league, which is, it is interesting. You're not wrong there. We've played them only twice in our history. Once was in the Watney Cup in 1971, which we lost 2-1.
What's that known as now?
Nothing. So I think it was introduced in about 1970, and then it was like abolished in 1973. So it was a cup competition that was played in the off season, so like in the summer. And it was an invitational, and the people who were in it were the clubs who had scored the most goals in the EFL, but hadn't been promoted or relegated or qualified for a European competition.
Okay.
So, it was a random cup which came and went very quickly, but we played them in that. And the other time we played them was in the FA Cup in 1930, which we won 1-0. Nickname is the Baggies. They actually frowning. I'm not 100% sure why. I think it was. I think the Baggies was a diss from rival fans. Because it's a very working class area. So, if you look back at old working class area photos, everyone's wearing like baggy trousers and the big baggy shirts and stuff when they were going to work in like an industrial sort of area and industry. That's the sort of clothes they used to wear. And I think it was a diss from fans coming to town going, you look at you in your baggies. So I think that's where it came from, and they just sort of, like a lot of things in history, when somebody is bashed with something, they just reclaim it. No, they just reclaim it
as a positive,
and they go, right, all right, then we'll have that.
Yeah.
What stick are you gonna hit us with now? It's similar to us with Disney FC. No, similar sort of thing. Yeah. They play in white and navy blue stripes. Main rival is Wolves, so Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their games with them are called the Black Country Derby. Another two teams I'm really excited to play against next season. Really excited to go to the ground.
So is Coventry and West Brom a
bit of a rival, yeah. I would say so. Obviously, like I said, West Brom's main rival is Wolves, but there's quite a few clubs in and around that sort of Midlandsy area. So I dare say might you chuck Leicester in that mix a little bit as well? Maybe. I don't know really, but yeah. Look, if you do want to support the show, you can do by buying us a coffee, and you do that by visiting buymeacoffee.com/me-the-wife. Any coffees are much appreciated, especially because I'm struggling to wake up in the morning, so that would be really good.
You had a ginger shot this morning?
I have had my ginger shot, yeah.
That usually wakes you up a bit.
Yeah, I am loving that.
If you'd like to comment on any of our videos or send us a message or anything, you can comment on YouTube on this video or any other video. You can click contact the show on the podcast, which my brother struggled to find the other day, he said.
It's at the Yeah, well, with your descriptions, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, maybe
it is. So if you are listening on the podcast, go to the description, and at the bottom of the description, it says there, contact the show.
You can also contact us on Blue Sky, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or you can email us on methewifeandwrexhamafc@gmail.com.
Quick shout out for Dragon Chat before we go on to the quiz. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. The other is on Thursday at 7 p.m. and that is for men. Best thing to do if you want to get on them calls is go to the Wrexham AFC website, go to the communities tab, scroll down to health, and you'll find Dragon Chat in there. Alternatively, you can find it down in the description if you're watching us on YouTube.
No, before you ask, I'm not.
Excited?
No.
The couple of bits to clear up. Mark Steinlen got in touch and said, no more numbers for Shaun's year-long birthday present. Happy birthday. I will take that on board, and I will not do numbers for you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the backup, Mark.
We've got Mrs. Foster from Wrexham as well, who got in touch. And I was gutted when she got in touch. No offence. You probably know why. But she said, so I asked a question last week.
I haven't seen this.
No, I asked the question last week. How many different teams did we play in the last 3 seasons? I give you options of 63, 66, 69 and 72. I think something like that. And I can't remember. Anyway, the answer that I gave was so there was 69 teams that we had played, but we missed out Notts County because we played them in National League when we were in League 2, and then we missed out Stockport and Mansfield, which took it down to 66. As soon as we finished the podcast, like 10, 15 minutes after, I went, oh my God, I've missed one. So the answer that I said was actually wrong. It wasn't 66, it was 65. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit back, and I wonder if anyone will notice. One person noticed, and they didn't message until I think Wednesday or Thursday. So I genuinely thought I'd got away with it until then. Mrs. Foster from Wrexham, what about Crawley? We played them in League 2. Are your numbers off too?
Yes, Mrs. Foster. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. And I realised it, and I thought, I'm just going to seal the lips.
Because he never mentioned anything to me. And if you hadn't messaged, I would have been none the wiser.
Oh, if you hadn't messaged, I never would have brought it back up.
I would never be none the wiser.
But I think it's fair to say you still got 0 last week, because if you'd have answered because you answered 69, which was so wrong, and Mrs. Foster getting in touch actually just made your answer more wrong. So so there we go. Look.
Oh.
No, I felt bad last week because for you getting 0. So I know you like an anagram.
Yeah, but I like it when I can see it.
You will see it now.
Oh, okay.
I've done it so you can see it.
Okay.
I've also done it so that you can see it on screen while we're playing, so you can play along. And if you're listening to the podcast, go to the description. I've put it at the bottom of the description for you as well, so you can also play along. I've thought of everything, don't worry.
How will they know the answers, though?
Because we're going to give the answers now, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
If they've got this far, they're not going to switch off now to go and try and do it on their own.
Okay.
Look, there is going to be a time limit on this.
Oh, shut up.
We're not going to sit here for another 20 mintes while you come up with them.
All right, stop talking.
I think it's fair to say we'll give you a minute for each one.
Right, we'll get cracking then.
They're increasing level of difficulty. First one being the easiest.
Okay.
They are all Wrexham AFC. They are all associated with Wrexham AFC.
Okay.
Every answer has been mentioned in today's episode.
Oh, Oh, crap.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1. Smash Tim. Smash Tim. So I think what I will do is I will talk for a little bit while you think.
I've got it.
I know you've got it. I'm just explaining that you think quietly. And that's not great for a podcast. So I'll just continue to talk on my own while you try and work it out. So you've got Smash Tim. What is that one?
Sam Smith.
That is Sam Smith. Well done.
Thanks.
That is 1 out of 1.
Oh, at least I've got one this week.
I know it's your wheelhouse anagram, so that's why I tried to be a little bit kinder to you this week. Okay. Number 2. Oh, no, sorry. Sam Smith. That is the answer. It's
Smash
Sam Smith.
Tim.
Yeah. Okay, the second one is the Impish Pancho. Again, that's on screen for you now. The Impish Pancho. Remember, I've said all of these have been mentioned. Not necessarily features, but they have all been mentioned on the episode this week. Might have just been in passing. But it is, they have been mentioned this week. This is only number 2, so it's only the second most difficult, I would say. Well, I tried to gauge it. I wasn't really sure which was the most difficult, but how are you getting on with this one?
I'm not sure I'm going to get this one.
Struggling with this one? I would say they're all relatively tough. Mainly because I know you like an anagram, so I'm trying to test you a little bit. Yeah?
Yeah, I can't. Oh, there's a. What is that thing called?
No, it's not that then, if you get struggling with that. Go on. No, go on.
No, because it hasn't got the letters in it, so it can't be.
No, that's sort of the idea of an anagram. Are you going to...
Are you going to give me a clue?
I can do if you want.
Yeah.
Step Up.
Championship.
The championship.
The championship.
It is the championship. Oh, well done.
I'm giving people a lot of time to think for themselves, aren't I?
You are indeed. Yes, you certainly are. Okay, that's the end of the help. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, if I'd known that, I would have,
saved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need it on some of these future ones.
Oh, shut up.
Number 3. Farm Fight Risk. I feel like you know that one instantly. Farm Fight Risk. I sort of felt like you were just gonna.
It's not that, is it?
Remember, all of these have been mentioned in the episode today. Maybe just fleetingly, but they have definitely been mentioned. I made sure of that. Okay. I'll maybe help you a touch, if that's okay. This is, I know on the screen, Farm Fight Risk is 3 words. The answer is 2. I will give you one last clue, but this is the last. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a name. A name connected with the club.
Humphrey. No, it's not Humphrey. There's
No.
no P or H. Well, there is
No.
a H, but no P. I don't know.
No? You out for that one? It is Mark Griffiths. Disappointing.
I am disappointed. Sorry, Mark.
2 out of 3.
Couldn't get your name on an anagram.
Been a guest on the show 3 times?
I know.
think? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Parky Promote. It's quite. I was so chuffed when I did this one. Parky Promote. Something that's been talked about on the show. I am gonna have to speed you up. I do need a wee. So we can't sit here all day doing this. As much as I love it on a weekly basis, I do need the toilet. So, Parky Promote. Go on, you're all right. You've only had 30 seconds, I think, on this one, so you can have a little bit more time. Yeah, tough. 4 and 5 are tough, I would say. Last two are not names or anything like that. They're just something connected to the club. Tough though, I would say. Parky, promote.
I don't know.
Gonna have to time you out on this one, I think, aren't we? You ready to see it?
No.
No?
No.
Are you ready to see it?
Yes.
It is
temporary
temporary
do you know what?
cop.
I thought that, but I thought it can't be.
Yeah, temporary cop. So Parky promote is actually temporary cop. Crazy.
That's weird.
There we go. You ready for the last one?
Yeah, come on, let's get 3 out of 5.
Subfractional coil. That is your last one.
Get
Subfractional
lost.
coil. I think you need help on this one. So have a little go on it.
On just this one?
Okay, maybe, yeah,
all
right.
of them.
Yeah. I would, to give you help, and it's very minimal help, but I would say this is a phrase.
A phrase.
Yes, a Wrexham-related phrase, I would say.
Don't know.
Subfractional coil? No.
Is it one word? Is it just 2 words?
It is not, no.
Is it 3 words? Is that classed as one word? Subfractional?
What does that matter? It's just the letters. You don't need the dash.
Why'd you put that in then?
Because that's how you spell subfractional.
Yeah, I know, but that's just confusing.
Okay, take the dash away. It's still subfractional coil, but...
Yeah,
timing. You're tapping out on this one.
The race course.
It's not the race course. Wouldn't really call that phrase either.
No.
So subfractional coil is football in a circus.
It looks so easy when you change it to its proper
I know. Look, I think you got 2 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get 2 out of 5?
Yes, I definitely got 2 out of 5.
No, sorry.
Genuinely, I got 2 out of 5.
I was going to say, was it 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5?
No, genuinely, it was 2.
Okay, that's fine. Would you think that was too tough? Let us know at home if you think that was too tough. I know Shaun is into anagrams, so I tried to make it a bit more difficult. I mean, it didn't show that she was into anagrams today, but
do it easier. Do anagrams again next week. Do it slightly easier.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I'll do anagrams again next week.
Has to be Wrexham related though, because
Wrexham related, and I will make them a bit like Smash Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash Tim.
Because I knew that straight away.
Yeah, but it's no good if you just know them all straight away.
Right. Well, yeah. Make it
okay.
Hard, easy to middling.
Easy to middling.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, guys, thanks very much for joining us again this week. We told you we could still fill an hour and the rest. But yeah.
All down to him and his gob.
I know. Look, join us again next week. Hope you enjoy your week. We've got less than 5 weeks to our holiday now.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Which is really exciting. I can't wait. But yeah, we'll see you again next Monday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.